Welcome to my channel, Classified Courage. There are moments in history that never make it into textbooks or news headlines. Moments buried in the locked archives of classified bases, sealed inside military files that the public will never see. Today, you'll witness one of those moments, a story that began with laughter but ended with silence. This is the story of the woman they called Night Fox. It started on a cold, wind-swept morning at Naval Base Coronado. The sky was a dull gray, the kind that promised rain, and the Pacific crashed against the rocks beyond the compound. Inside the briefing hall, a group of Navy SEALs gathered for the start of a new advanced tactics evaluation cycle. The room buzzed with noise, boots thudding on metal floors, men laughing, trading insults, and clapping each other on the back. A rumor had spread that morning, a woman was joining their team. Most thought it was a clerical error. Others thought it was a cruel joke. No one truly believed it until the door opened. She stepped inside without a word. The room fell silent. She wasn't tall, or muscular, or loud. She simply carried an air of absolute composure. Her uniform was pressed, her boots shined, her posture straight. But it was her eyes, cold, silver, and steady, that froze the room. They looked like eyes that had seen too much and spoken too little. She walked to the front of the hall and stood at attention. No hesitation, no nervousness, just silence. At the far end sat the Admiral, a man who had given 20 years to the Navy, battle-scarred hands folded before him, a face carved by years of command. He studied her for a long moment, leaning back in his chair. Finally, with a small smirk, he asked, "So tell me, Lieutenant, what's your call sign?" It was meant as a joke. The men chuckled. Without blinking, she answered, "Night Fox, sir." The laughter stopped. The name hung in the air like smoke. "Night Fox, huh," the Admiral said, raising an eyebrow. "Sounds like something out of a comic book." She didn't respond. She simply met his gaze, unflinching, calm, and confident. Something in that look unsettled even the hardest soldiers. The Admiral's grin faded as he realized this woman was not to be underestimated. He looked back down at his papers, then back up. "All right, Night Fox. Let's see if you can run with the wolves." Training began before dawn, the temperature barely above freezing. The Pacific roared black and angry as the team assembled on the shoreline. The regimen was brutal, a design meant to break bones, crush pride, and expose weakness. The men pushed themselves until their lungs burned, but Night Fox never fell behind. When they swam across the freezing surf, she was the first to reach the other side. When they carried massive logs across the sand, she lifted the heaviest without complaint. At first, the others mocked her silence. Then they started whispering in disbelief. "She doesn't talk. She doesn't eat. She just works." Someone added quietly, "Maybe she's not human." But at night, when exhaustion knocked every man to the ground, she remained awake. She would sit alone by the shoreline, staring into the endless dark. No one dared interrupt. The sound of the waves softened around her, as if even the ocean respected her stillness. One evening, the Admiral summoned his instructors. "What's her story?" he asked. "Sir, we don't know much. Her file's sealed." "Sealed? Above your clearance?" "Yes, sir. And above yours too." The Admiral frowned. Files above an admiral's clearance only existed for one reason: operations that didn't officially exist. He decided to test her himself. The next day, during a close-quarters combat drill, he stepped into the ring. "Let's see what you've got, Night Fox," he said, removing his cap. The men gathered around, grinning. This was going to be good. The whistle blew. She moved like lightning. One fluid motion, low spin, wrist lock, and before anyone could blink, the Admiral was face down on the mat, his arm twisted behind him. She held the position for exactly 2 seconds, then released him and stepped back to attention. He stood slowly, dusting off his uniform. Neither spoke. The silence that followed was heavier than any words. From that day, the jokes stopped. When she entered the room, the soldiers unconsciously straightened their backs. The next phase of training involved live-fire hostage rescue simulations. Explosions echoed through the desert. Smoke clouded the air. During one mission, a helicopter malfunctioned mid-drill, leaving the team stranded in hostile terrain. Confusion rippled through the comms. Then her voice came through, calm, firm, precise. Team Bravo, move to Sector 2. Cover fire on my mark. 3, 2, now. Her commands sliced through the chaos. The team moved with mechanical precision, executing every maneuver flawlessly. Within minutes, all targets were neutralized, all hostages recovered. Even the instructors were speechless. When they returned to base, the Admiral was waiting outside the hangar. "You led that mission like you've done it 100 times, he said. "I have, sir," she replied quietly. That single sentence told him everything. She wasn't a trainee. She was a ghost, the kind of operative that didn't officially exist. A few days later, an unmarked helicopter appeared on the tarmac. 2 men in black suits stepped out. They didn't salute. "We're here for Lieutenant Fox," one said. "She's under my command now," the Admiral replied firmly. "Not anymore," the man answered. "Her orders come from higher up." That night, she vanished. Her bunk was empty, her locker spotless. Only a folded note remained on her pillow. "Sir, thank you for the chance to remember what silence feels like. Night Fox." The Admiral read it twice. He didn't show emotion, but something in his eyes dimmed. Weeks turned into months. Training continued, but something was missing. Sometimes, late at night, the Admiral found himself standing outside the empty barracks, listening to the wind and waves. He'd think of her, the way she never sought attention, never bragged, never faltered. Then one night, the red phone on his desk rang, the one that only rang during emergencies. "Admiral," said the voice on the line, "this is the Secretary of Defense. We're tracking a covert team behind enemy lines. They're requesting extraction. Mission code name, Night Fox." The Admiral froze. "She's alive." "Yes, and she's leading them." He gripped the phone tightly. "Then get her home." 2 weeks later, she returned. The guards at the gate almost didn't recognize her. Uniform torn, dirt streaked across her face, eyes the same calm silver as always. They saluted without orders. The Admiral stepped outside to meet her. "Welcome back, Night Fox." "Mission complete, sir." "You saved 9 hostages, didn't you?" 10, sir, she corrected gently. "You forgot the pilot." He smiled faintly. "You always see what others miss." She nodded once, then walked past him toward the barracks, her footsteps quiet as the tide. The next morning, the team assembled for briefing. The Admiral looked at the men, battle-hardened soldiers who now stood in respectful silence. "I once asked her, as a joke, what her call sign was," he began. "Now you know why they call her Night Fox. She doesn't speak much because her silence commands more respect than our words ever could." He paused, scanning their faces. "Remember her example. Strength isn't about how loud you are. It's about what you do when no one believes in you." That day, the men of the Navy SEALs learned a truth that would outlast them all. That respect isn't demanded, it's earned quietly, through discipline, courage, and heart. Months later, when the Admiral retired, he found an envelope waiting on his desk. Inside was a small silver coin engraved with a fox and a single line. "For those who fight in the dark so others can sleep in the light." He smiled. He didn't need to ask who sent it. He already knew. Years passed. Legends faded. Bases changed. But every now and then, new recruits whispered about a woman known only as Night Fox, the operative who once made an admiral fall silent with just a name. They said she still operated somewhere out there, under different skies, protecting people who would never know her face. Some believed she was gone. Others swore she lived in the shadows, moving silently through the night. And sometimes, when the wind rolled across the base and moonlight struck the ocean just right, old soldiers claimed they could see her silhouette by the water, calm, steady, watching the horizon. Because heroes don't always wear medals. Some simply walk quietly through the night, making sure the world stays safe while the rest of us sleep. So remember her name. Not for fame, not for glory, but for the silence that spoke louder than gunfire. This was the story of Night Fox. If her courage moved you, honor her the way she lived, with quiet strength and unwavering heart. Like, comment, and subscribe to Classified Courage, where we uncover the hidden stories of bravery that history forgot.